Somebody asked me the other day about how would I cut back my fig trees. This one we're going to turn into a bush beside the cottage. Hopefully you can see this. I'm going to take it down to get as much light on it. Well, that tells you where it was dead. But you can see the bark. See the bark? All those little teeny places on them. You know, that's because it's dead. Healthy bark does not have that. See that? Big difference. Well, you know, all of this upper part is dead. And you can just twist them. You know, they're dead. When they get really dry, they break. But all that growth is coming off of that shoot. And this is alive, is dead. And you come all the way back, but you see you've got a live shoot growing there. So you could remove all of this smaller wood right here. And I wouldn't make big cuts until next year, because disease can get in the plant. If you cut this back until you got to healthy wood and cut it off right now, disease can get in that plant because it's not going to heal over. Now, if you waited till before this flushes out next year, late winter, early spring, before this thing shows any sign of growth, because if you cut it after it shows sign of growth, the sap will run out of it, and that's losing energy. And so I would take all these smaller branches out now to clean the tree up, and then that is a place right there I would leave alone. And then next early spring, before it flushes out, I would cut this out at least 2 inches above that spot. And then that cut place, because you would be getting into the warmer springs time, would heal over. Now if I cut it right now off right there, and it's fresh, healthy green wood under it, disease can get in that branch between now and next year when it starts to grow again, and it might get down there and kill this whole branch or get into your main trunk over there. So just get rid of all the little stuff on obviously dead wood. It wouldn't hurt anything to cut all these off, because disease is not going to live in dead tissue. So if you cut that off and it's dead, disease, even if it landed on it, a spore of some type, is not going to penetrate it because it's dead. It cannot move through dead tissue down here to live tissue. So I would just clean all this stuff up, take that one off, and or just cut this off right up in here, because you know it's dead. And then next spring, make your heavy cuts. Like there's some fairly large branches in here that I'm going to have to take out. This whole branch I've got to take out. And I don't really see any growth on that at all. And I'm going to take that off all the way to the ground. But I will first lighten it off by taking this one off next spring, taking this off up here, that off up there. Then I'll come down and take this off, and then this off, and then that off, and then that off, and then go down and take the bottom out, because it's dead. Now I can take that whole branch out now because it's dead. I could very easily take this off to right here and clean it up next year. And you can see these imperfections in the bark. That's because it's dead. And that's how disease gets in. But see, that's a dead. So disease cannot get in this dead part and go down. And you can look on the bark. You can see how scaly that bark is. That's not a disease or scale or anything. That is just dead. And see how shiny and pretty that one is? That's healthy. And if you had a doubt, like if you're coming down this and you're getting toward the healthier stuff, you might wonder what you would do about it. And one thing about a fig tree is it has really thin bark. It doesn't take anything to knock it off. Now this is dead, so it's going to fall off. You could probably pick it off with your fingernail. But if you do that, like if part of this was dead and part of this was healthy, and you couldn't make your mind up where it stopped and started, you could take a sharp bladed pocket knife, any kind of knife with a sharp edge on it, and just scratch it just like that, and you'll see that it's green inside. And then you might come up here and scratch it. But see, I know all this is alive. But you can just scratch the bark. You know, like if this was green and all this up here was dead, and you didn't know where it stopped, you could just scratch that bark and you'd see green. You don't have to make a big mark, just enough to see past that little thin bark. And then you'll see it's green inside. And you know that you could cut it off there, but why would you cut off something? Because, you know, this year's growth's going to produce some figs, but most of your figs are going to be on new growth. And you want to leave all the healthy stuff. Now that one, of course, will be left. That one right there will be left. Now this branch here may or may not be necessary on this tree. But see, I took my knife and barely applied any pressure at all. It's cloudy down there today, so you don't have a lot of light. But see how green it is, so you know that's healthy wood. Now if you scratched on that one, you wouldn't see healthy wood because it's dead. So that's a good way of knowing where this healthy part and the bad part. This could be dead, and you'd want to take this off, and then you would leave the part that's green. Now you can see our fig tree sticking up there, and all those bare branches, all of them really need to come off.